Hey, it's your buddy Peace and Harmony checking in with you here today. Checking in on signs that you are truly beginning to heal and move in the right direction after experiencing and enduring narcissistic or psychopathic abuse. The narcissist or psychopath is delineated as a cluster B personality character disorder, as described in the DSM-5R, the professional manual for diagnosing and treating those individuals with a cluster B personality disorder. And realize that on the disorder, it's essentially a spectrum. Just like you can have a spectrum of high blood pressure, where some people have a mild form of blood pressure, high blood pressure, and others have a very high level of blood pressure, high blood pressure, and heart disease, and are medicated accordingly, treated accordingly. Likewise, there is also a spectrum within the narcissistic and the psychopathic personality character disorder. So when people are highly narcissistic, they start getting into that psychopathic realm where they're really devoid of morality. They don't have a conscience. They're able to commit severely unscrupulous behaviors against others that impact others in a really severe, detrimental manner. In fact, the cluster Bs, the narcissist and psychopathic, have been deemed as interspecies predators because they really take advantage of people and are lacking in really what a quality such as empathy, which really makes people human. The human side is the compassion side, the ability to feel and understand the needs and interests of others and connect with others accordingly. So how do you really, after enduring this sort of abuse from one of these individuals who is in this spectrum, as a narcissist, a covert or overt narcissist, or a psychopath. And how do we know that we're really kind of emerging through this cycle so that we know that we're on the right track and we're no longer caught up in the spiral or attracting repeat offenders? How do we know we're moving in the right direction? Because sometimes moving in a new direction feels very unsure, uncertain. It's unfamiliar. Our healing is contrary to the abuse and the identity of being a victim for which we were hitherto living. So what are some signs that you really are beginning to emerge and heal successfully? Well, for one, your locus of control of your emotions, your values, your wishes, your dreams, and your beliefs are now coming from within rather than outside. We deem this in the psychological community as an internal locus of control, meaning you have a very strong sense and a strong experience and a strong feeling that you are now directing your life. You are now living in alignment with your values. You now identify your values and then promote them, live them, and are in touch with them on a daily basis. Where hitherto maybe you had felt distance from them. Hitherto you perhaps felt distance from being able to control your emotions. Felt out of control of your life, like perhaps you were living in a role just to people please or satisfy others. So that brings me into another quality that manifests knowing that we are actually learning to heal beyond narcissistic and psychopathic abuse, and that is essentially a reduction in people pleasing. Yes, we can still get along with others, we can joke, we can have fun, we get along with others just fine, but not to the point where we are in a constant and incessant need to people please. Yes, we can still take care of others and respond to their needs in a healthy manner, which is done with boundaries, yet we don't live just for the idealization of trying to be someone's ideal. We now are living by our own internal locus of control and knowing what's right for us and really living by what is serving us. comfortable to us, and not necessarily to impress or people please with others. So we're more in touch with our voice, being able to say how we feel in a diplomatic manner, being able to stand up for ourselves and clearly seeing and identifying what is abuse and then not partaking in it. Having a clear sense of boundaries, knowing that the abuser is outside of us and we are within a separate personality from that of an abuser. So we're able to live not as in reaction, but we live in direction. So our lives are now directed internally versus being in a constant reaction mode, a constant conflict mode with abusers, narcissistic or psychopathic in our life. There's a more stable mood. A more stable mood grows out of being more in alignment with one's true authentic self, one's true wishes, and really living with what is taking care of you versus just putting yourself on the back burner all the time. It is truly important, and oftentimes that is one of the largest hurdles for people who are overcoming narcissistic or psychopathic abuse, is learning to realize that they matter, that they are important, and that their needs count. So this is absolutely crucial for you to understand. Your needs do matter. Your needs are what needs expansion. Your voice is what needs to be enhanced. And as once you acknowledge this and then work on this on a consistent daily basis, then you begin to have that internal sense of control, and you're able to then better take care of your needs and not rely on others externally to you for that, and thus your mood is going to become more stable, which is a huge benefit of healing. We see a dramatic impact and change in behaviors and thought patterns. Behaviors, and feelings that are much more gentle to the self, a release of defense mechanisms. So one is no longer getting preoccupied with things like material possessions, overindulging in food, overindulging in drink, overspending, binge gambling, things of this nature that were essentially serving as defense mechanisms to cover up the sort of wound or hole or feeling of emptiness perhaps that was created within a narcissistic or psychopathic relationship. So feeling more of a sense of peace, not waking up with a food hangover, not waking up with a hangover, not waking up with a financial hangover, a cessation of stopping, beating oneself up and living in regret. Really one is more able to take account of lessons learned, such as we discover and we develop in the healing journal. The lessons learned is sometimes the toughest pill to swallow, but once we realize and take stock of these and realize the changes we need to create within ourselves, we accept, acknowledge, articulate, and then take action towards those lessons learned. So not only are they lessons learned or lived in denial, they are now accepted, internalized, articulated, and then acted on, so that you are now living from a sense of wisdom and strength versus a sense of regret and powerlessness. And also, I think one of the great keys or identifications once you are signs that you're really learning to heal is you develop a sense of self-trust. You learn to have a sense of knowing. You are no longer living in tremendous self-doubt, fear, guilt, obligation. You are able to live in a harmonious experience of life versus that of self-doubt, fear, and guilt, and all these sort of negative emotions, the resentment, guilt, and hatred that were really promoted in a narcissistic or psychopathic abusive relationship. And it is that foundation which gets stronger and stronger and provides more and more energy, autonomy, and self-responsibility that is a true sign of healing after experiencing narcissistic or psychopathic abuse. Peace and harmony with you here today. I hope these videos help. If you need assistance with healing within your life, please do feel free to contact me at the email provided. and we can work together to develop a strategy if indeed you're struggling with this. Please do share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussions, and support.